The I'm Friends with the DJ podcast is brought to you by Grip Tins. Patent pending 100% food grade silicone, BPA free with gecko grooves and spiral ring sleeve for your bartending tin. In an environment where things tend to get wet, we let you get a grip. That is www.griptins.com. www.griptins.com. GRIPTINZ. Grip Tins.
All right, guys, what's good? This is episode 15 of I'm Friends with the DJ. We got me, Angelo the Kid, your usual starter, your usual entertainer, the best one out of the three. And then you got Olive Oil. And then we also got our special guest, Bryan Lubliner, legend right here. He's got so much shit going on. He's got We Are Never Going Home, White Isle events, and really excited to get into that with you and talk about that. What's good, Bryan? How you been, bro?
Good, man. Good. Summer's definitely been weird, but making the best of it. Able to throw some parties, which is good. A lot of people can't say the same, so I'm definitely very grateful for that.
Nice, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
What did you got going on this weekend? Let's talk about like a weekend recap. What we do last weekend? Guys, do
Last
anything fun?
weekend, we actually had a lot of fun last weekend. So last weekend we'll go back to the We're Never Going Home party.
Okay.
Which was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Lucky to bring in Olive Oil.
Thank you, sir.
Merkel birthday action.
Yeah.
DJ Licious is always on. As long as she's available, she's always on my parties. And we had Tio, and the guys at Headliner have been great. I mean, last year they got me opening for Sam Felt, for Two Friends, for Dada Life. Brought me on for Batagor Brunch, and then this year we were supposed to do a monthly Saturday night theme party inside, which was going to be ridiculous, and we were all so pumped for it. And then this all hit. I didn't think we were going to be able to do anything this summer. So when they approached me with the idea of doing the first Sunday outdoor party that they were allowed to do, I'm like, we're never going home. The first party to kick off summer where we've all been stuck in the house. Like, this is fucking perfect.
Yeah. It's fire.
So that was awesome. It went well. They want to do it again. We're planning on another one for August.
Nice.
And then hopefully, we can get one to close the summer out.
Awesome.
So like I said, I'm very grateful to have something going on, because unfortunately there's a lot of DJs that can't say the same.
No, for sure.
I
was just gonna say you've been crushing it, like just as far as the parties. And you said also about last year where you opened up for Dada Life. Did you also open up for Sam Felt, right?
Yeah.
And I want to
really just said that.
No, well, I want to ask about it because
This kid is off his game today. First off, before camera, he asked Bryan how he says his last name. Bryan calls it Lubliner, which actually I didn't know. I've been calling Lubliner for a while.
you gotta
What did
ask.
Angelo say? Calls him Lubliner right on the opener. Now he's not even paying attention to him. He just said Sam Felt. It's all right. You're off your game today, buddy.
Bro,
It's had you off.
all about those LBI days, bro. It's a long
Too many
week.
LITs for you,
Look at
kid.
this. Look at this hair, bro. Look at this hair.
No, but continue.
Yo,
So
Sam
Bryan,
Felt, go.
Bryan did open up.
Yeah,
For
I
Sam
did
Felt.
open up for Sam Felt
Yo, so
for the third time.
Established.
that's awesome. But like the name though, like because that's when he first released Post Malone. And in the song, I always wondered this. Like, did you ever ask him about it? Like, or did he ever say anything about?
I couldn't wait to ask him about it.
Yeah, like
What
what
was
was?
say anything? I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna say something.
You better fucking say something.
So what? Well, how'd that go?
It was awesome. Like, I never thought, you figure like his biggest song, he's not going to play it to open, right? So I'm like, oh, you know what? He'll play it at some point. So I went over to him, and I was wearing my jersey and the hat, the whole nine. And I told him, he's like, oh, so what's We're Never Going Home? And he wanted to know the whole story about where it started and all that. And we had like a really cool conversation about it. I would just play like a 4-minute track, and I'm like, all right, fuck this. I'm going to go talk to Sam Felt for a minute. And, I would just play a song, go talk to him, play a song, go talk to him. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And then he's like, it's kind of cool now you have your theme song. And I was like, no offense to him. I was like, that's not really what I would like for my theme song. But it's still pretty fucking cool to have Sam Felt say it. Yeah. And, I'm standing there, and he opens up with the first song and turns around and points at me in my jersey. I'm like, that's pretty awesome.
That's fire.
So
That was like a pretty cool little moment I had right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Bryan, you probably had some great moments kind of throughout, but let's really get down to the greenness and like take it a step back. So how did We're Never Going Home start? Like, let's go to the origin stories of Bryan Lubliner. Probably some good stories back in the day.
September of 2012. Well, even prior to that, I had been talking to a good friend of mine, Jimmy, about going to Ibiza, and he had just come back. And he's like, dude, I'm getting together like the 10 best people that I know, and we're going to Ibiza next summer, like full bore ham sandwich. And I'm like, oh my God, perfect. I was like, this is exactly, I've been waiting for a reason to go. So I said, I was like, I don't care how much money it is, I'm in. I brought my buddy Ivan, and we didn't know all of his friends. So on a Tiki Monday, he's like, let's all plan to get the whole crew together in August. That way we all know each other and it's not a bunch of random people in September.
Yeah, makes sense.
So we meet up at Tiki. We all like just hit it off like that. And I'm like, oh shit, Ibiza's going to be fucking crazy. So we get to Ibiza and it's just everything you think. Like we never slept. It's like, you know, you walk out of the club at 8 in the morning, the sun hits you in the face. Somebody's like, yo, there's an after party at this villa. Okay. There's an after party bonfire on the beach. Okay. Carl Cox is playing. Okay. And it just never stopped. So the last day we started, I think we had 10 people. And the last day, everybody was dead, but there were 4 of us. It was me, Miguel, Ivan, and my buddy Alan. Only 4 of us made it out. We're like, fuck this. It's our last night in Ibiza, right? So we're at Sankey's. We went to see Steve Lawler, Viva Warriors, who absolutely ripped it, by the way. It was the first time I ever saw him live. And we're sitting there in VIP. We're, you know, chugging vodka at the time. And we still argue till this day about who said it first. But somebody was like, fuck this. We're never going home. And then we're like, yeah, we're never going home. And then we start chanting it. And then the VIP table next to us. Next thing you know, like the entire place is fucking chanting, we're never going home. And we're like, this is so crazy. And we're like, this is the best day ever, blah, blah, blah. So
started a revolution right there.
Me and Ivan woke up the next morning and we were like, dude, we fucking missed our flights. So we missed our flights out of Ibiza. So we rushed to the airport, like totally Home Alone style, sprinting through the airport, still wasted from the night before. And we get to the front desk. We tell the lady what happened. She's like, I might be able to get you to Madrid in time for your flight to New York, but you have to fly to Mallorca, then from Mallorca to Madrid. We're like, however it is, we'll get there. So, I mean, this was 8 years ago. None of us had that much money at the time. Ivan's like, bro, I don't have the money to do this. I was like, whatever it is, we'll figure it out later. I'll put everything on my credit card. It was a lot of money. So we get to Mallorca, we get to Madrid. The Madrid airport is like the worst airport in the world, especially when you're coming off 8 days of drinking and not sleeping. We had no idea where we were going. We finally get to the gate. We missed our flights home. It was done. They're like, there's no way you guys are getting back to New York tonight. So Ivan looks at me like the Grinch. You know how the Grinch gets that like creepy, slow smile? He looks at me, he's like, yo, have you ever been to Madrid? And I'm like, nope. So we ended up in Madrid for, I think like we were there for like 3 more days after that.
That's fucking crazy.
And the whole time it was like, we're never going home. Like it wasn't a joke anymore.
Yeah.
It was real life. So we finally come home after a couple of days in Madrid, and it became like a thing with all of us, like all of our friends. It was like, we're never going home. I'd be DJing in Hoboken. We're never going home. Then it ended up, you know, down the shore at Tiki Bar, where everywhere we went, it was just constantly, we're never going home. And like throughout the time, everyone's like, dude, you should do something with it. I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be kind of cool. I never actually thought of doing it. And then I think it was in like it was February of 2016. I talked to this girl that worked at the gym with me, and she's a lawyer. And I was talking to her about it, and she's like, oh yeah, I do trademarks. I was like, what would it cost to trademark a phrase? She's like, what's a phrase? And I told her we're never going home. She did a little bit of research, and she's like, it's pretty. She's like in her 50s. She's like, that's pretty awesome. And I'm like, it is pretty awesome. And you know, a lot of back and forth, and you know, trademark issues and stuff like that. Because it's like, it's super specific. It's like, you have to trademark the logo. You have to trademark the words. You have to trademark the words in that order. Like, it's just, there's just so much that goes into it. I had no idea. You know, I was just like, I just want to party. I don't want to do all this work. Luckily, she was able to do all the work for me. And it took a while, but finally we trademarked it. And I talked to my buddy. We launched a website, merchandise and everything. And it just exploded. Like, everybody's like, we want shirts, we want hats, we want this, we want that. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then my parties kind of turned into like, not Bryan Lubliner anymore. It's just, we're never going home. Like
Yeah.
people didn't know my name. They were just like, "Oh, you're We're Never Going Home," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, at this point I am."
Yeah.
No, I just kind of embraced it.
I think it's
Did-
absolutely great because it's like a freeze. You know what I mean? So it's even
Yeah,
like funnier. It's not
Yeah.
like olive oil's a little tangent. You know what I mean? So people are like, oh, are you olive or are you oil? Like that's like our
Right,
number
right,
one thing
right.
that we get from that.
Yeah,
Oh, We're Never Going
So-
Home is afraid. It's great.
it is, and it's awesome. And I first played on Groove Cruise so the trademark, just to give you guys kind of like a timeline, the trademark went through in 2016. We filed for it. So once you file for it, it's yours until they say no.
No.
So nobody else can file for it while you have it. So I played my first Groove Cruise in 2017, but nobody really knew about We're Never Going Home at the time. It was still like in the works. I didn't have a logo. I didn't have everything done yet. So yeah, I played the party on Groove Cruise. It was awesome. They're like, all right, next year we're gonna give you a little bit of a bigger spot. The following year, We're Never Going Home. Everything was in place. That's when the website had exploded. People were buying merchandise. People were like, where's the next party? We want to see photos. We want to see this. We want to see that. And Groove Cruise is like, all right, we're going to give you a bigger stage at like a prime time on the last night. It's like perfect way to kick off the last night. We're Never Going Home, final night of Groove Cruise. So they're like, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. I want there to be confetti, beach balls, craziness. And they're like, do you want to get signs made? I'm like, yeah, what's the biggest we can go? They're like, 4 foot by 8 foot. I'm like, can I get one word on each sign? So we had these giant 4 foot by 8 foot, We're Never Going Home.
That video,
That's
that
unreal.
That video, those videos that you've posted from that are epic.
That is
Fucking
to this day the most legendary thing I've ever been a part of. Like better than any trip I've ever been, because we're in the atrium and you know, nothing like that'll ever happen again, because you can't. It was funny. Like I'm sitting there DJing, right? And Scotty Boy comes up to me and he's like, Bryan, take your headphones off. I was like, bro, I'm in the middle of this like amazing party. He's like, take your headphones off. I'm like, okay. Cause he's like, Scotty Boy is like the end all be all on Groove Cruise. Like he's the resident. He hosts Groove Cruise Radio. I mean, he's like absolute legend.
He's our guy.
Yeah. So he's like, take your headphones off. I'm like, all right. Puts his arm around me. He goes, just take a second, step back and just look around. And I look up. And in the atrium, there's the huge dance floor in front of me, but then there's stairs behind me. There's like 5 levels up of people overlooking. And I look around, I'm like, and I look behind me, I'm like, there's fucking people everywhere. Like all you just see is people and confetti and beach balls and like the giant We're Never Going Home signs. And like people have like blow up dicks and there's just all this crazy stuff around. And I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. He goes, this happens once. This is yours right now. And I'm like you can't get like that rush is just like nothing. I mean, you feel it again after that, but it's nothing's ever the same as that first time.
It's like that perfect moment for you. That's
Yep.
a real moment. And the fact of like the gratitude of it's your party, you putting everything together on that, like, you know.
The goosebumps start flying. They start
exactly.
I'm getting like fired up just thinking about it now.
That's
I'm
awesome.
getting fired up for you now.
Yeah, for real.
I'm getting hyped over
And
here.
you know, I'm close with the photographers and videographers on Groove Cruise. They absolutely crushed it. Those pictures that they got, the videos that they got, me holding the belts, chugging vodka, standing up on the decks, like everything was just perfect. And those pictures were like the platform for me to be like, okay, now I'm ready to take this shit to the next level. And Groove Cruise was like a huge step for me because, like I said, I mean, so much promotion comes from those pictures, those videos, and just that party. And I mean, I've booked just from that party, you know, destination weddings. I've been flown all over the place to play at clubs, and that just like exploded everything, because that was really the first time anybody saw me on a bigger stage. And that's
awesome,
when like,
man.
We're Never Going Home was like, okay, there's no more Bryan Lubliner. There's only We're Never Going Home.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it's really established.
We've had that conversation too. I've talked to you about, like, I was like, oh, like, do you get a lot of weddings from your Groove Cruise and We Are Never Going Home? You're like, it's insane the amount you get, especially like the destination weddings. I feel like, right? You were saying that's awesome.
Yeah, I've been to last year. I was in this year. I was supposed to be in Puerto Vallarta in June, but obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I was in Puerto Rico twice, Mexico once. I did a wedding last August in Nova Scotia from somebody that saw me on Groove Cruise. Like
Nova Scotia, that's
yeah,
just a random place.
it's just crazy.
That's sick.
And you know, I was supposed to play a festival in Houston in July. They moved it to hopefully now Labor Day weekend. And I've just been, you know, my party at Winter Music Conference. all came from somebody who I'd met on Groove Cruise. Like, oh, you know, I had the idea. I'm like, you think we have enough like momentum going to throw a winter music conference party? And this was 2019. And he's like, I definitely think so. And, you know, I would have never known him if not for meeting him on the boat. So it's a lot of things. So many things have come out of that.
Yeah, so many probably great connections you developed.
So many great connections, and it's just amazing how it all happened, and it happened really fast. Like I wasn't prepared for it.
I mean, we were talking about it on the phone a couple weeks ago. You were telling me about how the MMW party this year, like, sold out and like super quick.
The party this year,
and it was at a big spot too.
Yeah, it was.
We were excited
at the rooftop on Clevelander,
and they're all coming.
Yeah. We had 150 person capacity. And granted, I think when people RSVP to a ticket, they're not, it's always like, oh, if we go, we go. If we don't, we don't.
They'd rather RSVP before than like being shot.
We had over 500 RSVPs in like the first 4 days. And we're like, what the fuck is going to happen? He's like, the venue's going to have to deal with it. There's nothing we could do at this point.
Yeah.
And people are like, can you do paid tickets now? And I'm like, I can't go back now. We had like 500 people RSVP, and now to ask people to pay for it, you can't. And I was like, we're just going to see what happens. And I was so pumped for it. We had such a great lineup too, a couple surprise guests. But you know, obviously things happen, and we'll be back stronger next time. I don't want to wait. Yeah. I'm not waiting till Memorial Day weekend, Music Week. As soon as everything opens back up, we're having a
Miami party.
Yeah. That's awesome.
What's more, like coming out of quarantine with the first party opening, even though we were still kind of in quarantine, the first party being we're never going home. But like when shit was really open, it's like, okay, we're back full speed. I mean, we're never going home. It's just perfect.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's going to be not being able to work as much, but
I think like your whole personality too, and the way you, like, I guess, sell yourself when you're at your own party, it reflects the name insanely well. Just because you're just running around, and I mean, like, obviously not right now, but you're running around, you're taking tequila shots at everybody, you're hugging everybody, like it works. So your personality works so well with the name. I've never seen anything like
100%. If you were a laid back dude, you would have been beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have been like, it doesn't really fit. But you start going crazy, you bring the sequin, I don't even know, cardigan, whatever, the robe thing. That thing's tough. I see it all the time.
Elvis Presley.
Robe, Elvis. Yeah, you know what? And
banana suits.
The crazy thing is, everyone's like, oh, it's just an act for We're Never Going Home. And then they get to know me. They're like, yo, this isn't an act. You'll do this on a fucking like Tuesday afternoon. I'm like, yeah.
You've seen it in your studio. We were mixing.
Fucking go, bro.
I was doing all this shit before We're Never Going Home. Like, it's just now, it just comes easy, and it's not an act. And I think that's, like you said, with the personality. And Ryan, we were talking about this. Yeah. I think that's a big part, because people look at it as like, I'm not the DJ that's gonna, like, you know, not come down in the crowd. Like, I'm more of a fucking fan of the party than anyone out there.
Yeah.
You know, when other DJs are playing, I'm front and center. Yeah. You know, I'm on stage making you guys get drunk, giving you tequila shots, running around in the crowd. Because I want, you know, I'm just a fan of the party.
Yeah. I think what you do a really good job is you're just a great entertainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All in all and stuff like that. And you make sure at your parties, you've ever been to one of Bryan's parties, like the energy level is always fucking high. There's no lulls, you know what I mean? Like if you go to a typical party, you know, there's an opener and a headliner, like the way he lets his DJs kind of rock and do their own thing and stuff, I think just really keeps the level well. And everyone kind of gets to show their own style throughout that. And if you love house music, you got to see this man. You got to come to his parties and stuff, because we play house and we play house the right way. Good vibes, good times, high energy. But yeah, the entertainment aspect of what you offer, Bryan, I think is really why, you know, your parties are picking up and people are loving it, and they continue to grow, you know, because anybody could be a DJ. Anybody could, you know, sit there, you know, mix good music and just, you know, be kind of that laid back DJ doing their thing. Like bringing that energy level that you bring, I feel like just hypens up your crowd, and your crowd has to like match that in a way. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I see it on that aspect.
Yeah, and like,
I love it.
You're always looking too to, like, you're trying to always book something different too. Like you always put that big name guy on there, whether it's like Anthony Atala, Tommy Sunshine, Scotty Boy. Like you always have that big name dude on there, just so, and it gives everybody the feel. It's like, all right, I'm really getting something out of this now.
Yeah.
You know?
I want people to feel like even if the money's coming out of my pocket, which so far, you're not going to start a party and make money right away. Like it just doesn't happen. But I was fortunate enough that, I'm sure we'll talk about it at some point. White Isle Events picked up, was knock on wood, doing so well that I was like, now I really have time to invest some of my own money into We're Never Going Home and throwing these parties in New York. And, one of the things I've talked to all you guys about is that, I bring a different value to my party. It's not the reason we chose vinyl is because every other place that we talked to in New York was like, you have to have a dress code. I'm like, I'm not throwing the party here. We want your party. I'm like, well, then you can't have a dress code, but we have to have a dress code. Okay, well, then you can't have the party. The whole point of the party is that everybody just comes however they feel like it. Because that's what I want to do. I don't want to be like, oh, I really want to go see this DJ tonight, but I don't want to have to wear a button-down and dress shoes. So like, my
Be
party.
comfortable in your own skin to go wherever you want. You know what I mean?
I'm so with you.
First party we threw a year and a half ago now in May was with Lizzie Curious, and we threw it at Vinyl. And I'll never forget. I look one way and I see this group of girls in like stilettos and short dresses, like they spent hours doing their makeup.
Yeah.
And I look this way, and there's a girl in a hot dog costume holding an inflatable pickle, and I'm like, this is exactly what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. You guys want to get dressed up and look great? That's perfect. You want to wear a costume? That's also awesome. I want to wear a tank top and banana shorts. That's cool. Like it's just a free. And that's one of the things Tommy said to me, Tommy Sunshine, after he played the party in November. He's like, dude, there was such a vibe. And that's what I want. I want it to be just a vibe where you feel like you could do, within reason, whatever you want. Walk around, high five people, hug people, make new friends. And you're not gonna bump into somebody that's like, yo, what the fuck, bro? You're gonna be like, oh shit, let's go do a shot together.
Exactly.
Like that, and that's so much different.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing, not to pat myself on the shoulder, but there's nothing that's like that right now.
Yeah.
No, everything.
You should tap yourself on the shoulder because you're 100% right. Like, unfortunately, me and Fisher, we've been working. We haven't got a chance to get to vinyl, but every time I'm like, yo, Fish, he's playing Friday. We working because I see these videos. People are just going crazy.
Yeah.
You feel the energy from watching the video, just how much fun people are having. And I love the confetti and like the inflatables and the blow up. It just reminds me of like, to me personally, I went to Coco Bongo in Mexico one time, a couple years back.
Best place ever.
That aspect of like the confetti and like the blow ups and stuff, and people just really like loving life. Like I see that energy match with your parties, Brian, and I love it, honestly. And it's probably one of the coolest experiences that I've seen.
I think the big thing is too, like this is what I hope when we're done with quarantine. It's like nothing is like materialistic. Like it's not about like who has the bottle service in that VIP area. It doesn't matter. Who's spending how much money on a table, whatever.
Yeah.
Like everyone's there, like doing the same thing. Everyone's there just have a good time, and that's it. Like, and that's how I hope a lot of parties go towards the future too, especially coming out of this. But
yeah, it's that old school wave, bro. It's just like people going out to go out, not going out because they got to show off.
It's tough, and I agree with you guys. I pray that it goes back to that because you guys, not to sound like an old fart, but you guys weren't around for that shit like back in the day.
Yeah.
There wasn't bottle service, and if there was, it was very like spotty. It was around the ends of the club. Like there's a DJ and there's a fucking party, and that's why I go. I love after hours in like Brooklyn and stuff because there's none of that. It's just it's awesome music and all people that love the music, but you can't get that at like 10 o'clock in New York City anymore. Even in Brooklyn, since Output was gone, Output was the best. No VIP, no, you can't grease a bouncer to walk in. Maybe if you know somebody, you might get in a little bit early, but it's really going to be tough. Everybody waits in line. Everybody gets in the same. You wear whatever you want. But the problem is, with a place like that, rent's insanely high. You're not getting that, $4,000, $5,000, $2,000 table that's paying your bills. And it's, that's why it's tough to do a party like that because you have to have that balance because you remember, people are going to come in because they could spend $30 and, have 5 drinks at their friend's apartment and not spend a nickel on a drink when they come in.
Yeah.
The club's got to make money too.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very fine line. And like I said, I would love for it to go back to that, but it's just,
it's really interesting to see where the city is going to go after this with a bunch of clubs closing down already. Like I think Up and Down is done. Avenue, like, you know, some of the top ones. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what the hell is that? What the hell is it going to go to? You know, like,
Yeah.
it's very interesting to see. So we'll see. But, you know, always in these, especially in quarantine and things like this, I feel like new opportunities come up, new things happen, you know.
I think it's, and you know, and I've all three of you guys, I love what you've been doing, you know, social media. Angela, I've been watching your TikTok. I hate TikTok, but I love
Thank you, bro.
Me too.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
It really is. And it's great because it's different. And, you know, like you guys are saying, like my party's different. That's the only way you can survive. You have to be different. Because like you said, anybody could be a DJ. Everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And coming out of this, I think there's going to be a ton of opportunity because, you know, a club that's been closed for, you know, hopefully 6 months, not a year.
Yeah.
But a club that's been, however long it is, they're not going to want to drop 10, 20 grand on a headliner.
Yeah.
People are going to fucking come out no matter what. People want to get out. You don't need to spend $20,000, $30,000 on a headliner. People want to go out no matter what. So I think the mid-range DJs are going to do really well coming out of this because people are going to be, you know, clubs are going to be looking for, okay, do you have a following? Can you fill some of the club? Because the rest of the club's going to be full with people that just want to get out because they haven't been out in 6 months.
Yeah.
So
I think you're 100% right on that.
agree. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity, but it's also going to be weird because a lot of those bigger names, if they want to play, they're going to have to cut their you know,
their rates.
Rates. And are they going to be willing to? Nobody really knows. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens coming out of this. I mean, if you guys will notice now, all these places that are open, that, you know, places down the shore that usually have big names, where are those big names this summer?
Yeah.
They don't need to book those big names because people are coming out no matter what.
Right. Exactly. They're using all their just regular guys. And I mean, as they should be. They shouldn't be wasting the money. There's no reason to.
I love it because they're you know, number one, it's work for all the guys that have been busting their ass to get to where they are now.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's the clubs are being very loyal and the promoters are being very loyal. Like, you know, like for instance, I've been doing a lot of work with E-Rock. They were so great to me, and they could be booking other guys, but they're, you know, they're putting on their people. Because they're like, listen, if we're going to put somebody on, if we're going to pay somebody, it's going to be our people. And they're super loyal. And I love stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
Like Dario this weekend headlined. He was headliner at headliner. There we go.
Headliner.
No pun intended. But yeah, that was a big opportunity for him. He crushed it. I was there this weekend. He did a fantastic job. But like, again, like an opportunity came up for him, which was awesome, you know? So, and he did a really good job. It was a fire night.
I think it's going to continue like that, where the promoters are going to be like, you know what, we're going to stick with our guns, and for the DJs, it looks great too because, you know, you guys are being loyal to them as well. So it's a two-way street, and the club owners see it, and I know that, and everybody sees it. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of opportunity when all this is over.
Yeah. I feel like it also too, kind of going from your point, like just the fact of like these local guys, maybe they didn't expect it at one point of like bringing talent in or not bringing necessarily talent in, but bringing people into the club and having that promotion aspect. Like that's also helping on that too, you know? Like I feel like these local guys are bringing more and more people. Maybe it's half bringing more and more people. Maybe it's the other fact of places getting, you know, filled more because they want to go out. But club promoters are realizing that, you know, they don't have to spend that money on that, you know, headliner, but mainly because the fact of they don't have to worry about the place not being packed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think it is that give and take of the spending because people at the end of the day will come out to see headliners, and that's really the risk for reward. I'll pay him X amount of dollars because I know he's going to fill out the club, but the club's already filled out. Why am I going to pay the headliner when these local guys are killing it, doing a good job, and bringing people? You know what I mean? We're growing our market share so much higher. Because of, you know, because we have this opportunity right now, I feel like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree 100%. And I think, like I said, there's just going to be a lot of open doors once this is all over, especially for like young guys like you who are just coming up and starting to make, you know, big waves.
Trying to.
All right.
Fish, you have to say something? I could cut you off. My bad, bro.
No, I mean, I was just going to kind of do like a quick segue into some news about some concerts that happened this past weekend.
Sweet.
Let's talk. What happened?
So did you guys hear what happened in the Hamptons with Chainsmokers?
No, what happened?
You didn't?
No.
We literally just talked about it before the podcast. That's also.
Oh, bro, you're messing
Oh.
up. No, but for
I-
those that didn't know,
I was playing
No.
stupid. I was playing stupid.
Don't play stupid.
it's supposed to be rhetorical, bro. It's for the podcast. It's for the
Gives a
cast.
shit.
I saw Merkel say no, and I'm like,
Yeah, Ryan's looking at me like, I'm like, don't you texting on the side. Don't you
Literally,
dare say anything.
Who cares? No, but they had a driving concert with like tickets ranging anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 for like RVs and shit like that. And they, whatchamacallit, everybody just started getting out of their cars and just made like a pit. Apparently there was a pit on the field that they were at, like set
People?
up. But there was a pit legitimately set up. So
Right.
like why would you have a pit even though there's like you barely see the cars in the videos too? I don't know if you guys actually saw the videos.
I gotta
But
see him.
It was absolutely I'm
I
surprised.
saw one of the videos.
And like now Cuomo's like investigating it and like seeing like how to take action, I guess, on it. I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but I can't believe that it happened.
I mean, there's a market for it. You know what I mean?
No, 100%.
People are, want to go out and stuff. And, for someone like the Chainsmokers to do something like that, I mean, recently they haven't been playing. They're obviously a huge name. So for them, I think it's smart on their part. It's a huge publicity stunt. No one's playing in quarantine. They haven't played recently. So for them to be like, all right, we're going to do this. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
yeah.
just so much more of an incentive to people to go out. Hampton's a great spot too, because whoever booked it is making their money. You know what I mean? People are going to pay top dollar to go to something like that.
Yeah, especially out there.
Yeah. So, I mean, whoever came up with it, I mean, kind of props to you and a good idea. You probably made money pretty quick, but we'll see how this plays out because
Definitely.
I know Cuomo was freaking out about it. I saw a whole
Yeah.
tweet and just him, going off on a statement on it and stuff. And it's tough. Like you can't really control these people if they're supposed to be in their cars and supposed to be, quarantined and 6 feet away. You can't control them if they're getting out of their cars. Like, how many bouncers do you think they have, or how many security do you think they have? If they have
No, right, exactly.
500 cars.
That's what's like crazy. It's like, how can you actually control something like this? You can't.
I gotta say one thing. I feel so bad, and I've been like trying to hug every bouncer I see because they're not bouncers. They're just like enforcers of wearing a mask at this point. And I feel so bad. Like, the guys at Headliner, as soon as you step away from the bar, and I have to say they've been doing an awesome job.
Great job.
As soon as you step away from the bar, yo, put your mask on. Yo, put your mask on.
Yeah.
And that's all good at like 2 p.m. But you go into 6, 7, 8 o'clock when people have been drinking all day, and you're on your 15th time telling this kid to put his mask on. Like, it just sucks.
Like, bouncers didn't sign up for that shit. Like,
No.
Did you see the dude? Do you see the dude who jumped into the pool?
Yeah. Jerk off.
So people who didn't see and stuff like that, when we were playing 2 weeks ago with Bryan at Headliner, some individual decided to not listen to the lifeguard. I don't know what happened in the pool originally, but the lifeguard was trying to get him out of the pool. He jumps out, he dodges the lifeguard and jumps back into the pool.
Props
And
to the
one of-
bouncer, bro.
One of the bouncers really jumped right into the pool, snagged his ass out real quick, started like choking, like basically like kind of restraining him, bringing him out and stuff. But the crowd went hyped when the bouncer jumped in, bro.
I would have flipped
They
out.
were shocked. We were mid-set, and I saw it like a little bit happening.
I didn't see
going in.
anything.
And I remember like dropping a song, and it wasn't on the drop. I wish it was, but it wasn't on the drop. It was very close to the drop. The crowd just like freaking out. So my head pops up. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? And all I see is this dude getting dragged out of the water by this bouncer. And then another bouncer comes by and like basically picks up his legs, and now they're like throwing him out of the fucking club. And and yeah, the crowd was freaking out. Got me hyped, honestly. Mid said, I'm like, all right, we're cranking this up right now. I'm trying to get somebody else to jump in the pool.
You should play Rock and Roll Part 2, the Devil's theme song.
But so here's my perspective on that. And Kev, I think you kind of turned to me and you were like, should I bring it down a little bit? Because you saw it was getting a little rowdy.
Yeah.
And that's the part that kind of puts us in a bad position. And listen, I love the guys at Headliner. I'm like, you know what? Maybe we should take it down just a touch. Like, everybody's social distancing and doing the right thing, but let's keep it that way so we don't have more idiots jumping in the pool. But also, there's the entertainer in you. It's like, yeah, I want fucking everyone in here jumping.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like it kind of puts you in a tough spot too.
We're stuck. It sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah. I mean,
even just like you go to DJs. Like we went to Green Rock last night just to hang out. Like it's just depressing just to go.
It is. DJs
really
is. I feel bad.
It's like Brett Favre not playing on Green Bay. It's just depressing. You don't want to see him in that jersey.
I actually
such a weird ass comparison.
That was a weird comparison. This
Oh,
is
very
like the
confident,
summer,
Owen.
this is like the summer of like Brett Favre on the Jets.
Yeah, exactly. That's all. I think it's a great comparison. Not gonna lie.
It works.
Jesus
But
He
like,
was a
Christ.
stud. No one wants it. Want him on it. No one. They want to see him play, but they don't want to see him play for the Jets. So it's like kind of like us. You want a DJ, but you DJ and people can't dance next to each other and they can't go crazy.
So
And it's
weird.
Like, that give
I'm
and take.
kind of, as far as going out, I'm on the, not that I'm on the other side of it, but you know, that's why I've been going out so much, is because I'm like, I feel like I'm a lot more appreciative of it now. And I am
Mhm.
I'm like, shit, you know, obviously who doesn't wish that we weren't going out every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just full on ragers. Tiki Mondays. That's
Monday.
that's my thing.
I was gonna say throw Monday on that list.
That's it. Monday's it. I'll stay home and sleep Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I will be the first person in Tiki and the last person to leave on a Monday. But like, it sucks that you can't do that. But you know, I'm happy at least we could do something, because you know,
Yeah.
throw it back to 2 months ago where we're all stuck in our houses playing, you know, getting
Do a live
the
stream.
Staring at the phone, saying, "Put your hands up."
Brian, you had that caveman beard growing out. Like,
my mom's like, don't ever do that again. You look such an asshole. But I did. I was like, you know what? I can't work.
yeah.
So whatever. It was kind of like a joke, but then it got a little homeless looking.
No, but you're honestly right though, because it's like I haven't debated on going, like, if I'm like going out like now, like I'm not saying like, oh, I'm gonna stay in. Like, it's never been like more staying in if I'm
Right.
going like I'm going out if I'm actually want to go out this summer.
Yeah. And I'll go out. I mean, we've been going places down the shore, and they're like, you have to social distance, you have to stay at your table. I'm like, I don't give a fuck as long as I can get out of my house.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Compared to last summer, I was like debating heavily on going out some nights to compare to this summer. So like, I could see that. I think it's gonna be fucking insane when things are back to normal.
And shout out to most of the shore bars out there, because I think they are doing a really good job. And to your point, Brian, I think Headliner is doing very, very well in terms of the social distancing aspect. And even you get in, you know what I mean? Like, I know friends that have been not many, majority, because most of my friends go out like me. But I have minority rather. I have a minority of friends that are still iffy about going out with the whole situation. I assure them all the time, like, you know, Headliner's doing a very, very good job on it. You know, you walk in, you're getting temperature checked. You were forced to get, you know, hand sanitizer. They yell at you the moment you leave, like, a bar or a table area without your mask on. Like, you know, like, that's what you want. You want people to be walking around and enforcing
and just know, if you do plan on going, go early, because they aren't letting the amount of people that they usually allow into the place. So the lines are going to be long. So go early.
Yeah,
So
they've been so good about it, and you know, I applaud them, because like I said before, it's not easy. Like, it's not. Bouncers didn't sign up for this. Even the owners of the club are like, they're counting. They're walking around to the VIP tables and saying, "Oh, you guys have, you know, you have one too many people. That person's got to go." And they're like, "Well, no, you can't. That's it." And I don't blame them. They can't put themselves
their name on the line. Yeah.
So they've been incredible. You know, I mean, you guys know what it's like normally compared to what it is. It's got to be less than half capacity. But you know what?
At least.
For the people that get in, it's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
I have a bunch of friends that came to the party. They got there at, I think, 3:30 to our party last week.
Oof.
And they were texting me like, "Bro, we can't get in." I'm like, "Told you to get here by 2.
Yeah.
No, it's not my fault. They're following the rules, and you didn't. So you're beat.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not like it used to be. Like, you got to show up early. Like, I can't come and get you in. I barely wanted to let you in before. Now I don't want to let you in at all.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I think for the rest of my career, I'm just gonna tell people no guest list, because most people are catching on, and I'm not getting like, you know, where I used to get like, you know, 50 text messages or Instagram or whatever. Now I'm getting like 4 or 5, because everybody knows there's nothing I can do. I'm like, this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
I had somebody. I think I played at 5:00 last week. Somebody texted me at 4:56. They're like, "Can you come get me in?" I'm like, I took my phone, just threw it in my bag. I'm like, "Fuck this."
Yeah.
Really?
No more mid-set phone calls.
No, it's kind of awesome.
The worst.
Dude.
I actually do that purposely, only to one person. I do that to Dario. Dario does not have a phone that has FaceTime, because he has an Android, like a loser. But my goal is I try to FaceTime him mid-set. I did it at Patagra. I did it at Headliner once. I did it at Sushi Lounge plenty of times.
This kid
and I just love doing it.
Every time Dario DJs, Merkel just calls him. Every single time.
If I'm there and I see him, I will call him.
That's so funny.
I wish he had FaceTime because I think it'd be better. But yeah, he'll usually have, and I noticed one thing too about Dario. I'm gonna make fun of him, but he usually has his phone like next to the mixer, so he does see it. So there's times where he's mixing, and I'm waiting for it. And I'm waiting him like, yo, turn to the right platter, like your phone's there, blah blah. And you'll turn the platter, do it, and then he'll see the phone, and then and another thing too, always picks it up.
Imagine while he's DJing, like,
yo, he did. He picked it up. Batagra was the first time that was like probably the best about it because he was like ripping it, and he was about to literally like put in a mix and like picked up my phone call, and I'm like, bro, I'm here. He's like, what are you doing? I'm DJing right now. I'm like, I'm in the corner. I see you. Like, just fuck with him. But yeah, that's my little prank I play. But even Headliner too, on that aspect of the bouncers and everything, they're probably honestly hiring more people than normal because they've got people to mass monitor and stuff. Yep. So it is definitely a burden on some of these places, which really sucks because, you know, at the end of the day, they're not bringing the volume, you know, that they can normally bring in with the people and of the money for the places.
Especially with the size that Headliner is. Like, it's huge.
Yeah.
Especially, it's huge.
Even
especially
when the
outside.
Even if the inside's open too, like I don't know.
Right, exactly. Like the whole thing.
But I'm saying it's a risk versus reward. They bring in a quarter of their place. It looks great, and you know, it does probably decent for them, but they can't be killing it. You know what I mean? They got a whole place inside and a lot of staff and everything else too. Like, you know, no place right now can be possibly killing it with quarantine because of the rules, you know, and it sucks. Yeah. It really sucks, you know.
The only thing we were talking about before that may be balancing it a little bit is that they're not bringing in those big names and spending all that money.
True. 100%.
So that maybe I agree with you. I don't think the numbers are where they were, but I think it's helping it a little bit to know that, like, you know, they're not booking these massive headliners that they're spending $10,000-$20,000 on.
And maybe these bars change their business model on that aspect too, you know, to maybe book less and figure out different ways to, you know, necessarily, you know, make money. But we shall see. We shall see. All I know is I want the world to open back up. I want the states to open back up. Murphy, if you're listening to our podcast, I think you're a clown. Please open the state back up. You don't even lift, bro.
Every time I see those like little alerts that he posts, I'm hoping it says like 25% capacity inside or something. Like, give me something.
Bro. November. Wait till November.
It's just a shame. It's just a shame, but
I'm just hoping we don't. And I don't know if you guys saw this week, but like Chilton Hospital, Valley Hospital, a couple other places posted that they have no COVID cases in their hospitals.
Good. Yeah. That's really good.
We're the only state that didn't go up or down or whatever. I think we stayed like neutral.
I heard we went down, are up on Wednesday, but in cases, but you can't. Is it because that there's just now more testing?
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like you don't know. It's more testing. Is it people that have been self-quarantined themselves now coming out? Like,
right. Yeah. And the thing too is like, I think New Jersey's been great because I've been out at Tiki Bar every Monday and Tuesday. I've been at Headliner. I've been at DJs. You're not seeing, not that you would see a lot of, but like you're not seeing a lot of older people out, which you normally would. Even on the boardwalk, you're not seeing a lot of older families. It's all younger families with kids. There's not, you don't see grandparents. You don't see older parents. Like my parents, my mom is 72, my dad's 78. Like they don't leave the house. I haven't seen, I've seen them, but with a mask on from 6 feet away while I stay in my car. But, I think that's a big part of it is that people, that generation and those people who could actually get, deathly ill are being smart about it.
Yeah. And I think you have to be smart. You know what I mean? If you fall onto that category and stuff like that, by all means, be smart. But it's that risk versus reward, It's right. Like, do we risk like the economy and everything else and like the whole aspects of small businesses, for that, small percentage, I mean, I don't necessarily know. I'm not the person making the decisions, but it is that, risk versus reward, that fine line. It should be a sliding scale. It shouldn't be cut or dry, you know what I mean? Black and white. And that's what I feel like we've been doing, which is the reason why, we've been hurting on that aspect. And
right.
I feel bad for a lot of small businesses out there that are.
Yeah, I mean, we went to Hoboken last night, and Hoboken's doing a thing now. They did it last night, and they're doing it on Sunday, where they're shutting down Washington, and they shut down like First and Hudson pretty much, and they're allowing like the restaurants to set up tables in the street.
Awesome.
Like, they needed to do that. They needed to.
It's because these guys can't pay their rents.
Yeah.
They have no income coming in. They got to do something.
Yeah.
I think
Or else you're just gonna have a lot of empty spots.
yes. I think he was smart, and I hated it at the time where they just closed the doors on everything. Like everything shut down. What was it, like March 15th, New York and New Jersey, everything is shut down. That's it. And at the time, I'm like, what the fuck? But now you see all these other states spiking now, where we spiked March, April, May, 4 months ago.
4 months ago.
4 months ago. And like now we're kind of leveling off, and we're like, oh shit, maybe he did do the right thing in the beginning that we were all pissed at. But like now he's got to start working backwards.
Yeah.
And he's not. And that's, I think, what the problem is that like you did the right thing at first. Good. Now keep doing the right thing. And he's just not doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Like,
we're at a plateau level.
Going to the gym, you got to stay healthy. You got to do this. Open the fucking gyms.
Yeah.
Even if it sucks for the people who work at the gym, and it's like, okay, you have to schedule a half hour. You have to have people in line outside. You have to social distance. Just like a bar. It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Exactly.
Just
Do anything for that.
Everyone is willing to make changes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like these businesses obviously know that they're going to have to make changes and improve and probably spend money on different things. And they're willing to do it because they want that opportunity. And that's the thing. They're not getting that opportunity.
Right.
And it really sucks,
And it's the business's job to enforce it. Like I have this week for my first wedding since February. This weekend I have a wedding on Sunday. I'm DJing somebody's wedding. They have 50 people outdoors under a tent. I'm going to be sweating my balls off with a mask on. But you know what? I want to work. I want to make a living. That's what I have to do. That's it.
Yeah. And that's what you should do, you know what I mean? For the survival of your business,
Yeah.
And, I'm just hoping, like I said, but
it's very interesting to see how it's all going to play out in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
And it's insane to me how like the European like other countries are just already open.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just unreal.
What was it? I think Sweden never even shut down. They were like,
Yeah.
fuck it.
They
They're
never
just
do.
like,
They're
nah,
always
They're like, we're good.
I've never hear anything bad. They're always, fine. I feel like
I think it was Sweden or Switzerland, one of the two.
it's crazy.
One of those Nova Scotian countries.
Germany. Carnage played like his first concert in Germany. I sent you guys a video like that. I'm like,
yeah, it was sick.
That looked like all right.
I'm like,
moving forward.
Let's go. Like I'm ready.
Yeah. Let's get a flight.
My cousin from Italy, like he DJs out there. He played my edit and posted like the whole club, and I was like, no fucking way. Like they're already back to normal. Like the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, and they were. And news was bitching and moaning about Italy's 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that the whole aspect of like the virtual DJing and like live streaming, do you think that survives after quarantine? Do you think it drops down? Do you think people will use it? I'm very curious.
I think it's already dropped.
I have that was one of my first concerns when we invested. I invested in some equipment, but Ivan, who I work with, invested in Sling TV, which is what we've done all the live streams on. It's a great program. Everything looks sick. And I said to him, he's like, yo, let's really get into this live streaming stuff. I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, because once people can go out, I was like, Twitch is a great app if you're sitting at home. But Twitch, if you're sitting at the beach and you're listening to my set and you get a Instagram notification, you click on Instagram, now the music's off. Then you're in Instagram looking at your messages. Then you start talking to your friend. You're not coming back to my feed. You forgot. Nobody has the attention span anymore. So I told him, I said, let's not get too crazy. And that's why we started doing the drone footage and the recorded sets in other places. Because I'm like, let's take it one step further. Let's do it live, but let's record it and make it ridiculous, like with drones and like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Circle, but we got the idea from Circle and they do it. They have a production team. I mean, they probably have 15 people doing their edits and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're doing it on like rooftops in Dubai and all over the place. But I'm like, let's go in that direction because I think once things open up, people aren't sitting home on a Friday night anymore.
Yeah.
Staring at their laptop or their phone.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a feeling it was going to start dying down. And I even watched my numbers. I watched, I check in on like all my friends that are DJs, all their numbers from what they were, all of us are down.
Yeah.
These people are going out and they're not going to say like, oh my God, Bryan's playing a Friday night set. Let's not go out. I want to go out. I don't want to be sitting in my office.
Yeah.
You know what could be, or what I think could necessarily be good though, and me and Fisher have talked about it, potentially doing some type of live stream or live recording like midweek, during the week.
Like
using
Tuesdays.
using it as a way to kind of propel yourself into the weekend, for example. Brian, let's say you're playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Maybe you try to do like some type of DJing live stream on a Tuesday or Wednesday because, it could attack a crowd that maybe didn't know that you were throwing parties on Friday and Saturday and could give them a little bit of a taste. So that's something that we kind of talked about. And we haven't done anything on that, recently, but I think we should incorporate that into our system kind of when we get back.
And we had Pat on, Pat Light, and he was talking. Pat's like huge into all social media stuff, and he brought up a good point, and he said, "What's the first thing you see on your Instagram feed for the stories? The lives pop up first."
Yeah.
So that's what Instagram wants you to use. They want. That's why they're sticking it in the front of everything else. So they want
copyright and everything else is also.
Well, yeah, that's also nice too.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing. And Brian, you were saying,
give or take.
Brian, you were saying before how they close out the app, it's gone. You have to look at the phone the whole time. There's no easy app out there where you can actually just have a live stream playing in the background of your phone or anything. I think if SoundCloud did some shit like that, I think that would be a hit.
Murder it.
That would be a hit because everyone uses SoundCloud. Everyone does that,
There's got to be a reason that they didn't do it, because all it takes is one person to do it and it's game over. If I can be in my other apps and still have you guys playing or anybody playing in the background live, it's game over.
Did we just come up with an app idea right now?
I'm sure.
Right.
Let's do it. Figure it out how to do it in the next month.
All right. We will. We're getting on this right now. But I agree wholeheartedly. That's one thing I hate about YouTube. I mean, I'm a dinosaur.
YouTube,
I don't use Spotify. I don't use Apple Music. I barely use it. And so sometimes when I pop on a track on YouTube, when I'm hopping out of the app, music cuts.
Yeah. But
that's a feud with Apple though.
But you can buy.
I know, but I'm saying
you can buy you have to upgrade to YouTube Plus, and then you could exit out and everything.
But I'm saying an app, like Brian said, of some type of Twitch, a streaming type app, just like gaming or whatever, that could continue to do it while you're outside the app would be phenomenal. I just don't know how to do it.
Twitch,
be like a Pandora.
SoundCloud, if you guys are listening, we need to have a baby.
Yes.
Twitch and SoundCloud need to have a baby, and we'd be gold.
Yeah. Call Twitch Cloud.
That's all we need. Twitch Cloud, perfect. We just
Sound Twitch. It would sound great.
Sound Twitch.
Companies hire us. We're marketing geniuses.
For real. There's got to be a reason. There's got to be a reason.
It's definitely
it makes sense. You record the live session, whatever, and it saves to your SoundCloud afterwards. You have that recorded set. Oh, I want to go listen to whoever's mixes. You have fucking.
Well, what's it called? Fucking Za and Lead did it. They with the Class Kills app.
Yeah.
Except it's not like a stream. It's just it's pre-recorded mixes. They did it.
Yeah.
So, Lead's a whiz with that shit. So I don't know.
Yeah. So, who knows? I think I'll definitely be doing live streams. So.
See what the fucking future holds.
What do you guys?
From the gaming perspective, if a dude is gaming and doing his videos, he would probably want people to obviously still listen to him, if not on the app and stuff.
Gaming more so you want to watch though.
Yeah, but I like that podcast aspect. All in all, doesn't Spotify do it? Apple Music obviously does it and stuff like that. If you listen to a Spotify and you pop it onto other apps, you still get that sound.
Yeah, as long as no other sound opens.
That's what I'm saying. So there has to be a reason or a way for us to do this. I'm thinking of ideas here, guys.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, it's great. Listen,
awesome. Love it. What have you guys been up to? You guys got anything big planned? I guess this weekend or the next couple weekends. Anything?
My birthday's next Thursday.
There we go.
Nothing really going on though.
It turns 21. It's a big year. It's a big year for the fish. 21.
About to get carried out of Green Rock again.
You gonna get bottle service?
Absolutely not.
Nope. Brian, what about you? What do you got going on?
What am I, Merkel?
I know you mentioned the wedding.
Got to show off.
Wedding this weekend. I'm taking a week off. I've been going overdrive this summer, so I'm taking a week off. Give my body a little time to rest.
Love it.
Healthy workout. Going
on the runs, bro. I've been seeing those.
Going on, yeah. Try to do it every day that I'm not down the shore destroying.
I did not know that you.
We gotta go on a hike. You gotta come on a hike with me. You gotta come on a hike with me and my boys. It's fun as hell.
No.
Didn't you
do some rock scrambles?
You were saying you had your own cycling session?
Brian teaches spin classes.
Spin class.
I've heard.
I've been teaching for.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, most people didn't. I've been teaching. I think I think for 12 years I got certified.
See, like back to your personality, bro. Like
There you go.
That-
Are we going to see you on Soul Cycle?
because those people,
Knocking out.
bro, those people are nuts.
Yeah, they're nuts.
Out when I'm like, shit, what the fuck am I gonna do for money? I reached out to Peloton to become an instructor, but they never got back to me. I'm like, I will crush everyone.
That would be fire.
You would love, yo. You want
Imagine you
Peloton?
setting up the little like DDJ or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? The little one on a phone, and you're riding the bike while DJing for your class. Come on, Peloton, get in the game.
That I used to work with, we used to do that. We used to do like a Friday night rave, and I'd bring in lights, and I'd bring in the DJ. I'd have fucking 2 bottles of champagne in the cup holders, and like everybody would hang out and drink after. It was the best thing ever.
That's awesome.
Why isn't this more of a thing? Because you want to. What do you want to do? Combine working out and party, and
Yeah.
good music. And I think that's part of why I became a spin instructor, because I hated going to take these classes and the music sucked. Everybody's playing the same shit. I'm like, I have really fucking good music that nobody else has. Like, and even when I taught a class yesterday, everybody's like, your music was great. I'm like, well, yeah, nobody has a lot of this shit. Like, who's playing tech house in a spin class?
Yeah.
Exactly. It's very, very upbeat, and there's a lot of energy involved too.
I'll tell you what, I always love seeing on SoundCloud when a spin instructor like downloads one of our songs.
Yeah,
that's always fucking dope.
It's awesome, and
that shit's hard too.
It's
tough
because you probably have to prep it, right? Don't you like kind of prep it out in terms of like a little like cool, like not really cool downs, but there's lulls throughout.
It's like a set.
Yeah, it really is like planning a set. You got to slow it down at certain points because I know when people are going to start dying that I have to like take it back a little bit. So it is planned out like a set. But it's good, man, and because it forces me, I've been teaching for 12 years. I only teach once, maybe twice a week, but usually I try to keep it to once because it's just like an excuse for me to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm.
The pay is minimal. It's like fills my gas tank for the week. Yeah. But it forces me to go to the gym, and doing what we do, it's hard. Being up until 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, there's nothing good to eat that late except for like Spa Diner, and by that time you're eating, you're eating dirty.
Yeah.
So you're eating like shit, and I'm like,
some pizza, bro.
It like motivates you to go to the gym, and I'm like, all right, I'm here already. I'm teaching my class. Let me go work out. And then the next day, I'm like, I wake up feeling great. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go back to the gym again. And it's tough because you really like doing what we do. You really have to watch out for the quick turns your body can take because it does. I've been doing this a lot longer than you guys. It takes a toll, man.
Yeah, 100%.
And everybody asks like how I still do it. I'm like, honestly, when I'm not partying, when you don't see me on Instagram like ripping tequila shots, dressing like an asshole. I'm walking 3 miles every day, doing 300 push-ups and sit-ups, eating healthy, drinking
relaxing your body.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You can't. Can't. I've pushed the limits. I think harder than anybody I've ever known personally, and luckily people are like, "Oh, how do you stay in shape?" I'm like same thing. When you don't see me partying, I'm doing the total opposite.
Yeah.
I'm literally quarantining myself.
Yeah, you have to. You have to take care of your body in that aspect too. Me and Fisher talk about it too sometimes because we'll get caught where we're just like we have just such strong weeks and stuff. And I have a 9 to 5.
This past weekend was stupid.
Well, we also did some stupid stuff, but we'll go into our weekend. So we went to Belmar on Friday. My buddy Will, shout out to my boy Will Bowman. We had a birthday party on a boat, so we DJ'd 6 to 9 from a boat party. My also friend, Allie, that I used to work with, was her 26th birthday, and she got a house in the Poconos with about 30 people, and we were invited to go DJ and hang up there. So our plan was to go to Belmar, do the boat party, and then drive up to the Poconos and stay there all weekend. So that's what we did. So we did the boat party 6 to 9. We got out of that. By the time we packed up and stuff like that, we didn't leave till like 10:30, and we ended up getting to the Poconos like 1 o'clock in the morning. So that's already a 2.5 hour drive. At night, after partying and like doing what we got to do, getting up there. We go up there Saturday or Friday night.
Stayed up till 6 a.m. probably.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Partied all Friday night. Brought the speakers in like 1 a.m. Started DJing.
2 hours of sleep. Partied all during the day. 2 o'clock rolls around. Yo, Merc, you want to go back down the shore? You want to go to DJ? You want to go to DJ?
2 a.m. Saturday after party.
2 a.m. Saturday. Merc, you want to go down the shore? You want to go to DJ's? All right, let's start.
All right. So we drive. So we leave Pennsylvania at 2 a.m. and go all the way down 2.5 hours to Belmar, and we get in about 4:30.
I was with you Sunday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we get in at 4:30 on Sunday. my two roommates, shout out to Kate and Rachel, they're literally like they took their makeup off, they like finished going out in the bars and shit. They're like still at home about to go to bed, and they fucking see me and Fisher walking
We just
through the
walk
door. Like, I
in.
saw a ghost. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you're supposed to be in Pennsylvania. We go, we kind of got bored up there. Like, me and Fisher get very nomadic in that aspect. Like, when we feel something, we gotta rock, and we do it for the story and like just that energy of always going around stuff. So we ended up doing that, slept for maybe 3 hours on Sunday, and then we went to headliner DJs all day on Sunday.
But this week has been water and eggs, and that's about it.
It felt like death.
Yeah, but I live for those weekends, like those, like those triple book days where you're just fucking going to one spot to another and just fucking.
That's our embodiment of the never going home. You know what I mean? Like, we're just like, we got to feel it. We're going.
Love it.
Like, we're not going to go home on Sunday. We're going to go down to Belmar. We're going to go out and see our friends, DJ and yada yada, and just do something, because you got to live in the moment in that aspect. And I think that's what we really like as a DJ. And like, to Bryan's point that he mentioned earlier, like when he saw his crowd for his show, for anybody that's like never DJed before, like, we DJ for those moments, for those goosebump moments, for those moments of just like awe. It's like DJing, you get that energy and you get that hype when you're playing great music and people are loving it and you're partying.
If you've never done it, you'll never understand it either. You really
because it's a different high, man. It really is. And to Bryan's point, when he was doing the set at Groove Cruise, when he looked up and he just saw hundreds, probably even thousands of people fucking all around him and stuff like that, enjoying it, partying, loving life. You know what I mean? That energy and that moment, that adrenaline, man, is just something to die for. You know what I mean? I love it. Yeah. And I live for that every weekend, and I want that every weekend. And that's what we were trying to find. So
and I love seeing other people do that, and that's why I always, whenever I play your track, yours and Dean's track on Calling, whenever I play it, I'm like texting you guys. I'm like, yo, get the fuck up here, because I don't want to play without you. I want you guys to get that. That's your song. I want you guys to fucking be up there. I love seeing. That's why I take a step back, let you guys do your thing, because I love watching that, because I know how good that feels, especially when it's your own, when it's your song.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's just a great energy, a great vibe. I mean, everyone loves. You can't go wrong Calling. So
that remix is unbeaten. Honestly, you guys.
Absolutely.
It's a perfect form of simple, which is really what
Ryan,
we want to do.
Ryan, have you ever gotten into production or no? Like doing?
No, I did. I was working with Kova, who's phenomenal with his production. I got into it for a while, and it's just like, at the time, I was super busy with, White Isle events was exploding. And that's, as much as I love We're Never Going Home, and I probably put more time into it because it's fun. But, I realized, I was like, White Isle events is 75% of my income. Yeah. So I need to put more focus on that. So I started getting into the production aspect, and it was taking a lot of time, and I just didn't have. I thought I had the time to devote to it, and I just didn't.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to. Honestly, like you're an entertainer as well.
The brand speaks for itself.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, you don't. Need
I still think like. I think if you hit up like Scotty Boy or something, and you're like, "Yo, can we just make a song called We're Never Going Home?"
We've worked on a couple different versions. We haven't hit our speed yet on it.
I'm waiting for it.
But it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah.
We've worked on.
Have like a crowd chant and shit. We're never going home.
I love that.
Ryan, when did you get into DJing?
It'll be here at some point.
When did you get into DJing? Like when did it start for you?
I started. It's funny. I had a long talk with my buddy. His name is Shannon Williams. He's from Michigan. He's a big DJ in Michigan. Another guy I met on Groove Cruise. He's a resident DJ on there. And so I started in private events, weddings, corporate events, stuff like that.
All of us sing.
And when I think I started. Yeah, it's been 20 years. When I was 16.
Wow.
And I started with that stuff.
It's fire.
I didn't do my first club gig until I think I was 19 or 20. Yeah, I was 20. And at that point, like, when you start with the private events, it's not where, like, if you just start DJing, you're like, okay, I'm going to focus on EDM. I'm going to focus on tech house. If you're doing private events, you got to be good at everything. Like
100%.
you gotta know how to mix disco music. You gotta know how to mix, like, 90s. You gotta know how to mix top 40. You gotta know how to mix house music. You have to know everything. And when I started
100%.
playing in clubs, I'm like, oh wow, this is like really beneficial. Because I don't, I never have a set playlist of what I'm gonna do. Like I always get up there, and and me and Shannon were talking about this and that Groove Cruise set that I did in the atrium. He's like, did you know what you were gonna play? I was like, I had no idea. And everyone's like leading up to it. Everyone's like, oh, this is your first time on such a big stage. What are you gonna do? And I'm like, why is everybody asking me? Like, I don't know. I'm gonna do whatever I always do. I'm gonna go up there, look at the crowd, and be like, okay, here we go. And it was going into the fourth night or third or fourth night. I don't remember what it was. And everybody was playing tech house all weekend. Tech house. And nobody's really playing words. And I'm like, I feel like these people kind of want to sing some shit. So I went up and I forget what I opened with, but I teased them with like, it might have been like the Show Me Love piano. Or I don't remember what it was, but I just remember all of a sudden everybody went ape shit. And I'm like, oh, these guys are dead. Like,
you caught him in the trap and it's over. You know what I mean?
All they wanted, they had 4 days of just beats. They want some words. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to tease them. And then I played the Kung's remix. And that's just the song that set the whole fucking place off.
Oh, this girl at that time too was like the song.
Yeah, it was still fresh. I mean, even if you play it now, people go bananas. 100%. But at the time, it was like,
that's awesome.
I'm standing on the decks in my underwear, with 2 belts on my shoulder and a bottle of vodka, and everyone's dun 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 dun. It was crazy. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, all right, I know where I'm going for the rest of the set. Done. But I think you have to, and I give all the credit to that, to me learning how to DJ at private events and reading crowds. It's like, 100%. I could look at a crowd and be like, okay, these guys, I need to play this. Those guys, I need to play that. It's like, you just know, because you were bred to just read crowds.
Yeah.
And
100%.
know what people want.
Like,
so you walk in thinking you know what you're going to play. Sometimes it'll work. But like, for instance, perfect example, the first party we did at Headliner a couple weeks ago at the end of June, I'm like, okay, I want to, my party in the city, you guys haven't been there, but it's pretty much 90% tech house. It's very house heavy.
Yeah. And
I want to keep that going, and I want that to be the brand. So, we start playing at Headliner. I'm like, these motherfuckers don't want to hear tech house. Like, nobody there. I was like, you have to play vocals. You have to. And, and I think you guys did a great job, and Dish did a great job, and Renee did a great job. All of us at reading, like, okay, we might not be doing what we originally planned on doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, some other people might not have been able to do that. And they'd be like, this is what we're playing anyway. Like, you could play the best tech house track that's out there, and the crowd was like this. Then you go on and play like This Girl, for instance. And literally like that, the crowd was crazy. And people are jumping in the pool getting thrown out by security. Like,
yeah, we play like Sorry, Joel Corey, you know what I mean? They're freaking out and stuff. And typically me and Fisher too, to Bryan, to your point and stuff like that. Like, we didn't really have anything prepped, but we did have an idea of kind of how we want to go into it, with tech and disco. And we noticed that, like, half hour in, it's like, we're killing it. You know what I mean? People are liking the vibe, people are rocking, but you could tell that, they do want some of that vocal, like some stuff that they're. I mean,
we're also like earlier in the day too, so we don't want to like get too crazy either.
Exactly,
because I don't want to take away. I don't want to take away from you or Renee or whoever else is there. So to that point, like, I think, I mean, you're preaching to the choir here, because we all started with private events before we got into the club. Well, actually, Angelo, you started club before private, right?
No, private events.
Right. Yeah. So that private event background is absolutely huge, absolutely key. Like, it really teaches you to become that like open format aspect and be able to just take different genres and put it together. And Bryan, to your point, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. Knowing how to read a crowd is the most important thing, because I can take 100 DJs and put 50 of them in a club and say, all right, this club is tech house's house, like, do your thing and stuff like that, and they'd crush it and probably kill it. And that's what they do. Take the same 100 DJs and bring them into a wedding or a different wedding and say, all right, do your thing. Like, half of them are going to do well, half of them are not, because you have, like, not everyone has that sense of reading that crowd and having that aspect of knowing what to play, when to play it at that right time, and having that variety of music. Anybody can practice in their bedroom and become the best tech house DJ ever, or the best house DJ, and have genres and genres and genres of that music. But when you you feel and you fall into that situation of that not working, what do you do then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you segue? How do you develop that night? You know?
And I think that's the difference between somebody like me who's playing other people's music versus a producer. Take any producer, like
100%.
we're talking about Data Life. You know, Data Life produces a certain kind of music, and they always have produced a certain kind of music. So people come to see that kind of music, so they can be prepared.
Yeah,
You know, they know what their crowd wants to hear. But for somebody like me, like who's playing, like I know when I go to vinyl what's going to happen, but that's my party. You know,
The crowd is coming in to see you and to see your music and stuff. 100%.
People know what to expect. You go, like when we walked into Headliner, I thought while we had a huge showing that day, I mean, pretty much I would say 80 or 90% of the tables that were sold were our people. But, you know, that 80, 90% of the tables was only 30% of the crowd.
Yeah.
That other 70% of the crowd wanted to hear that stuff that we don't typically love, but we'll play.
Yeah, and like our crowd too at Green Rock, you know, a lot of them were at Headliner, and at Green Rock, obviously, we play a completely different set than what we do at Headliner and stuff. So, you know, some of them probably
we were
that mainstream openness, you know.
And we were kind of like prepping some people too. We were like it might not be exactly what you think it's gonna be.
Yeah. You're
not giving that preference of
be prepared for it. Like we could always switch it, like, but just be prepared that we're probably gonna play like some underground shit.
Yeah, just to kind of get everyone like set into that,
exactly,
to the whole atmosphere and the environment of the party. You know,
you're not
it's
playing
Green Rock. It's not like, you know, us doing that mainstream aspect. We wanted to keep it to that level and keep it to that like that disco, that house, that tech, that just vibe. You know,
you're not playing. We like to party at 3:30.
That shit. Yeah, exactly.
But it's so funny you guys say that because like that's like a, you know how Fisher's so commercial. Like I wouldn't say like a lot of people like Fisher, like a lot of the normal people like Fisher, but when they go out to see him,
he sucks.
They say
he's right here. That's my dad joke of the day. We're good.
There we go. Knocked it out of the way finally. I was waiting for it.
Not even paying attention.
But like a lot of like regular people, they'll be like, "Oh, I actually like the opener DJ better than Fisher," because they were like, "This guy was fucking dropping shit I knew." You know what I mean? Where Fisher's just baseline, just bass. You know?
Yeah.
And then
I don't know what's going on. They're like, perfect example. Crap ton of people saw Fisher at HQ last year when he was outside, and they're like, "Yeah, bro, he sucked."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, why did he suck?" Because he was just fucking like bass the entire time. I'm like, "Well, that's what he does."
Exactly. You got to understand what you're getting.
He's not going to play "Losing It" on repeat. It's not going to happen.
Well, that's what they expect. They know one song.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Oh my God, we love this song, and then nothing else he plays is like that.
Exactly. And then. So another thing too I wanted to bring up is I'm very scared to start using sticks because like I'm the DJ to fucking dig deep. Like sometimes I'll be playing and I'll be like, "Fuck, I haven't played this song in a while. Let me throw this shit on."
That's exactly.
And I won't have that. You know, like that. I've always been afraid to try out sticks at an event or anything. You know,
it's very difficult because like when I first time, and I hate that I always reference Groove Cruise, but that's like. You know, that's what really where when I started first playing on bigger stages. And 2017, I was like, use USB. I'm like, I can't. I've never played on a USB. I wouldn't. You know, I don't want my first time ever to be there. So I used my laptop in HID mode. I didn't have the right drivers. It was a fucking mess. Everyone's like, what's going on? And the guy before me was like, should I just keep playing? I'm like, yep. Luckily, they had a tech guy that helped me. Once we got everything set up in HID mode, it was awesome. And the following year, I'm like, all right. I know what to do now. Everyone's like, you should use USBs. I'm like, I was comfortable, but I wasn't comfortable enough.
Yeah.
And it really takes it. And that's, you know, part of the only reason I bought CDJs was so I could learn to play on USBs, and I can now. I still hate it. Yeah. You know, I still, because, you know, when you play a private event or when you play what my normal gigs or Hoboken or wherever it is, or Headliner, my normal gigs, I'm using my laptop.
Yeah.
So I'm not, most guys at that level are all they do is play off USBs.
Yeah, well, because people know what they're getting. You know, they don't really have to dig deep.
But it is one of the first times I played on USBs, like for a full hour and a half set, was when I opened for Espinola Nova and Anthony Atala at Szymanski, and I've never done it before, but I'm like, let me have this set preset. Let me have this. I know the crowd. I know what music I have to play. It's opening music for these guys who are going to play pretty deep. I know exactly what I have to do. And after that, I'm like, maybe I should always play on USBs, because when you have it set like that, but again, it's not every situation where you can have your set in order. I would hit a track, hit it, press play. I'm like, all right. And we're talking tech house where you're letting a 6-minute track ride. I'm playing with all these effects. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. You have 6 minutes now where you're not scrolling looking for the next song and like, I don't like this one. Let me listen to this one. You know what's coming next. So now you have all this time to use all these different effects and really manipulate the sounds. And it totally changed how I looked at DJing after that.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
I agree with you on that. It's like you have to have the perfect situation and like to kind of go into, for example, like me and Fisher were going to open up for Ricky Imperios and Zach Martino at HQ in April. It got obviously shut down for COVID, but that would have been a perfect day for us to necessarily use USB.
Yeah, I mean the
club and the whole energy of that was
right, exactly. The first time that we did it was on a boat and we opened for Disco Prize, and it was a very similar situation to you, Brian, where it was just like, all right, it's an opening set for these guys who play more like electro-y progressive, so we're gonna stay away from that shit, and we're just gonna hit like the deep house.
Surprisingly, they did play deep though. They definitely played some deep and some tech stuff.
I think I looked through like probably like 10 different sets. All they did was play progressive house, and then we get there, and then they was playing like heavy shit, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. So maybe they heard off us, and they were like, oh, we're gonna switch it up.
Yeah, I was like, what? But
I think the great thing of having both, HID mode is great. Like to your point, Angelo, like for the type of events, like even at Headliner in that aspect of, not necessarily knowing where to go, it was great to have the laptop because we had that opportunity to bring that more mainstream in those.
You have the larger library. It's easier to.
But if you're locked in like a club and you're like a true opening set, like Society would be another perfect example of something like you're rocking sticks. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rock
Definitely.
sticks, rock your set. Even if you do like want to go through the opportunity of playing other stuff, like you play your set. You know what I mean? And go through that. But I'm curious.
It is a little. Yeah. I was just gonna say like it's kind of hard too because like especially at Headliner, say you have like 2 friends coming in. A lot of these people don't really know fucking shit about EDM. Going to see 2 friends, you know what I mean? Like they like their big booty mixes, so they keep it, like the opener DJ's got to kind of keep it commercial, kind of keep it, shit that people know.
You really just got to know, honestly. Take the time to do some research in terms of your headliner if you're opening up and doing a set like that, to kind of know what they play and that style. And I would try to have some type of a mirror on that aspect. A mirror, or kind of go a little opposite and give them something different. I would say either or. At the end of the day,
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm done. I'm cut.
I was just say the one good thing and what I would recommend to you guys and like anybody that's listening, always prepare your sets like that you think you might play on a stick, even if you're going to play off your laptop. Always have it because number one, laptops HID mode. There's a lot of wires. You never know. You guys saw it. I mean, I've seen it before. It happens.
To us,
our laptop overheated.
Yeah, for like
now
6 seconds.
At this point, like I have so many sets and so many crates and folders on my USB that I could walk into almost any situation and play off my USB.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been building those sets for over 2 years now. So all those sets are saved on all my USBs. Always have 2 USBs, by the way. Always have, I have all those sets saved on USBs. So if I'm ever in a situation like, shit, I have to play techno tonight and I don't have my laptop, boom, I have a USB with a techno crate. I have a USB with a tech house, with an opening tech house, with a banger tech house, with this, with that, with EDM, with vocals, with disco house, with everything. So I think it's good for you to start building those crates. It's a pain in the ass, but then, you go into the situation where you're like, even if you're opening for somebody and you're like, oh, I'm going to use my laptop. And then you're like, fuck, I don't want to do it. Or you forget a wire, whatever it is, you have so much shit on that USB that you can walk into any situation and you're ready to go. And then you feel, part of the feeling for me, at least in the beginning with being uncomfortable was I'm like, what am I going to have 50 songs on here? Like, that's not enough. I mean, now I have probably 1,000, 1,200 on my USB.
Cool. How big is USB? Like 64? How big is USB?
Yeah,
64 gigs?
Yeah. So now I'm a little bit more comfortable. I'm like, you know, if I have to do it, it's not where I used to be like, I'm going to shit my pants if I have to play on USB.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
smart.
definitely. And I just think having like backups too. Especially right now, playing outside when it's hot out with the fucking laptop is always. It happened to me at a private event and recently, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like,
Yes,
it was crazy.
it's the worst part too because it never just like shuts out completely for us at least. So
Yeah,
I've seen it like delayed, like
it's
slowly
It
delayed.
distorts.
It
It starts to distort. I'm like,
yeah.
And it
I'm
just
like,
sounds
oh,
like
you gotta be
shit.
fucked.
You saw
Have
it,
you guys
right?
ever
You
had-
saw it happen.
Yeah. Have you guys actually ever had like power issues? Because we've had power issues sometimes where not a lot by any means, but we were at Union. Remember that time? It was the same type of effect. We're at Union.
We're drawing too much power. Yeah.
Yeah, we were like drawing too much power, and it was the same type of effect. It started like distorting.
Yeah, but this is like an
it's
old house
insane.
that hasn't been updated since like 1960.
I'm saying, I'm just curious if you guys
Shit.
ever had power issues on that aspect because it honestly does the same thing. Like it's overheating.
Yeah, because
It,
you have
distorts,
we had
and
like
things start,
we had like
working.
it was like two 735s, two RCF 735s plugged in, and like a dead-on mixer. We're running like 3,000 like wattage.
Plus,
coming
there's
out
all
of
the lights. No, but it was a microphone. Remember
the microphone.
out?
The microphone. We had to take the mic out. That was what was putting it over the edge.
Yeah, and everything just started like shit in the bed. We're like, all right,
Yeah.
what do we break? And like speakers sound like shit. They're like skipping. The tempo fader was delayed. Like you move it 5 BPMs, and then like 2 minutes
So
later,
weird.
it would
I
jump
was
up to
this
10. Like
I was moving. The song was automatically filtering at one point. And so
It was
and
crazy.
so I was literally had my hand on the filter knob trying to figure out. It's like you're trying to fuck around with like an aux in the car.
Right.
You're trying to like stretch it out. I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
out where it is so the song's like clear. It was
Serato's
really
so
weird.
fucked.
It was like 3 years ago. It was really weird.
But not. It's It's always. I think the number one thing being a DJ too that you have to be good at is troubleshooting. And being able to get out of that, especially for private events and stuff, just like speakers and lights and DJ equipment and stuff. So
Yeah, like when you were there at Pythagoras when
that when all that shit happened.
I mean,
Pythagoras,
DJs who know fucking between us, we know everything, and it ended up
Music
being
cuts,
something that was under the stage, and a piece of equipment blew under the stage, and we're like, but we were all like. I was like, yo, I have wires in my car. And somebody was like, oh, I have a controller in my car and I have this, I have that. You have to just make it work.
We were running, that was a funny thing because we were literally running an SX. Like they had everything into an external mixer. We were literally running the SX straight into the speakers. So it helped, it worked, but it did not sound as good as before.
Like it normally does. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing about production companies. It's hard, man. Like it's a lot of work. You got to be ready to go. If something goes out, you got to have something ready to go right after. Yeah. So
I feel like every time I do a private event, we set up like a video wall or TVs or anything like that. It's like,
oh my god,
always 5 minutes before intros, something shit to the bed.
Something.
Always.
So,
yep, it's like you tested a million times and it works great, but the time where you actually need it and people are looking at it, it fucks up.
And it's like
crazy.
the one person, like the one waiter who walked behind you, like tripped over a wire and knocked it out. It's like
you guys
stress
are fucking
level
kidding me.
for people that aren't in DJ and private events. Stress levels get high, and they get high very quick on that aspect. You can have the most greatest setup in the beginning. Take your time for 2 hours. Get there 2 hours before the event. Everything's all set up good, and then 10 minutes before the event, something's going wrong, or midway through the event, you're having an issue and shit. And it's like those times, it's like really.
It's like you're doing something that's supposed to happen for this person like once in their lifetime.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you want everything to go perfectly for them, and it's just like when something goes wrong, you're just like,
they're spending a lot of money,
right? Yeah, exactly.
100%. But that aspect of like the quick thinking and troubleshooting like really helps the fact of even just like DJing. Like us, playing a set or whatever, and then thinking like, yo, Fish, we got to play this song, and like quick mixing something out. Or, you know what I mean? Like going to a whole set and going to a vibe, realizing the crowd is not into it, thinking of a different genre and like the perfect song to get out of it. Like that is all off of just quick, reaction type movements for us now. But for someone that's like first like getting into DJing, that was like my hardest thing. You know what I mean? Like I could play like 10, 15 of my favorite songs, but then like looking at the crowd and being like, shit, I don't know what to play.
Where do I go next?
Or having that writer's block, like
it's
that's like the worst part. Getting nervous.
I like to take a lot of credit for skimming you out of that.
There we go. You got to know. You got to know 10
credit.
songs. You got to know 10 songs of a head of wherever you were playing.
You know what I mean, though? Like if you're playing on a laptop, I guess you're good to go to scroll and stuff. Even USB too, but like, oh man, I don't miss those days. When I first started, like having that rider split. Because I feel like everybody hits that at one point.
Yeah.
And even potentially, maybe even one point of a night, you know what I mean, sometimes.
When we first started, Merkel had like his 10-song go-to set. It was just the same one. So it was
like, I'd get on, I rip 10 songs. It'd be like, move your feet, Parisi. It'd be like
Mock J, Coco.
Yeah, Mock J, I would know it. Yep, 100%. Apache was one of them. The Castro one, yeah. I had like 10 songs I was agreeing to. I'm like, these all hit, they all work, and I'm gonna play them because I know them like the back of my hand. You know what I mean? I could close my eyes and fucking and tell you exactly when they're happening.
Seeing guys, I want you guys to witness it because seeing Merkel like get confused DJing, like I don't know what to do, is hilarious. It's so funny.
First time seeing Bryan DJ one time, you looked confused as hell, and I think you were just really drunk and you were just like trying to get in the zone and stuff one time. But it was a sight to see.
I think it was
and you were rocking it too. Yeah, it was at Green Rock.
Yeah.
You were rocking it, but like I just feel like you looked at the computer.
You were just you were just like looking around, just like.
Yeah, it looked like it was the first time you've ever seen equipment, and I'm like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "He's DJing fine, but he looks like he's like miserable and he's
confused.
Like lost," you know.
I do tend to have a couple drinks when I play.
Oh, you can't go wrong.
No way.
But
so funny.
We're coming up to about an hour and a half. We got a little long one today. But Bryan, any closing remarks? Like, you got any plans for 2020 when we get back at it? You have anything in the works right now in terms of setting up like new parties? I know you mentioned Headliner, playing 2 parties there for Never Going Home. Do you have anything planned for the city potentially now or anything else on that
2021
aspect?
definitely.
Yeah.
As soon as we can open everywhere, I mean, I'm going to be going hard at vinyl. Whatever we could do at Headliner or any other venues. I want to put more toward. And I don't know if I'm kind of overshooting my shot, but I have been putting some thought into it about doing like, not a We're Never Going Home tour, but kind of a tour of like throwing parties in different cities where like We're Never Going Home coming out of this is such, like we were saying before, is just such an awesome saying. It sucks what's happening now. But like when this is all over, it's like, we're never going home. Like I'm never going back to my house after being in fucking quarantine for 6 months. Yeah. So I definitely want to do some parties.
Nice.
I know, I'm obviously going to bring Scotty Boy here. He does Deep House Brunch in LA, which is awesome. It's on like the 21st floor overlooking downtown LA. It's a sick brunch party. So definitely want to do something out there. Definitely hit Miami. Hopefully have something in Houston if things calm down there, Labor Day weekend.
Nice.
So there's definitely some things planned.
That'd be fucking dope.
Yeah. Let us know.
Just more,
Take a trip with you.
Get
dope.
the name. And I love the fact that I've worked really hard, but it's pretty well established in Jersey, New York. Want to get it out a little more into other
Absolutely.
places. The goal is always We're Never Going Home with Ibiza. That's been the goal since day one. Bring it back to where it all started.
Yeah, exactly. Bring it back to the roots. Be open. And
So-
then Bryan, definitely plug your socials. Where can we find you on social media?
Your website, everything.
Website, White Isle, wherever you want.
Everything is simple. WhiteIsleEvents.com, White Isle Events, Instagram. I own all of them. There's no slashes or anything. We're Never Going Home. The only thing is there's no apostrophe. We're nevergoinghome.com. We're Never Going Home on Instagram, which took me 2 years to get because some jerk off who never checked his account had it. But I finally went through Instagram and got it. Facebook. I have a Twitter, but I can't get into it, man. There's too much shit.
And then no go for you on TikTok.
It's gonna all be
TikTok.
in the description and shit like that.
Like
I'm gonna get all of
it's
it.
like here, you have to run 2 businesses, run the financials, and run 18 social media accounts. Go. Fuck, man. It's like, nobody tells you that part.
Yeah.
Social media is a full-time job.
Yeah. People don't realize social media is a full-time job.
Social media for both companies has been huge, massive.
Yeah.
All branding.
I don't really advertise for White Isle Events. It's all word of mouth and social media.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about it with this crap. Just like honestly, just posting stuff for the podcast page is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. We wanted to. We love posting it, but like there's a lot of back end stuff you still have to do, edit, make short clips, do all this stuff.
Upload this video to YouTube and all that shit. That takes like a year and a half.
It's worth it though when we get people saying like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
exactly.
we enjoy your podcast." Like
Right.
when people actually listen, we're like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like we've been getting a lot of viewers, and listen, shout out to everyone there listening. Thank
Love
you
you
guys,
guys.
definitely for real.
For
real.
But yes, this
Fun
is
hyping it up. Share it.
exactly. This is episode 15. I'm friends with the DJ. Bryan Lubliner, thank you so much for being on. Love to
Bryan,
have
thank you, brother.
Going home. We're
And,
never going home.
Going
We're
home.
never
Hey,
going
thank you.
home.
Keep your ears open for the next headliner party. There will be one in August. I don't know the exact date yet. We're kicking around some ideas, but it's going to be happening. And then hopefully we'll be back in New York, if not this year, coming in hot in 2021.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Bryan, thank you again, bro.
Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Love you, brother.